just. All right. I remember the question though, but let me all right, so see, you know what? So we just read Exodus 20, right? Exodus 20 and 3. It says, Thou shalt have no other gods before me, right? Then we went and read Deuteronomy 20 and 18, just showing what the Amorites was doing. They was worshiping and serving, other gods, right? So now, look at this look at this look at this. Go to Exodus 34. Read Exodus 34 and 1 verse right here. And then we're going to go back to, we're going to go look at some over in Psalms real quick. Exodus 34 and read 14. Yeah, read that one verse. Yep.
For thou shalt worship no other God, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God.
You see that? God is a jealous God, right? So, we not worshiping another God. Like when the Bible is talking about in the commandment, thou shalt have no other gods before me, go to Deuteronomy chapter 4 right quick. Deuteronomy chapter 4, we call them God. That's just what we see within the Bible. You know what I mean? Like that's all we seeing what's written within the Bible. And you got to understand is that what comes along with having another God is the way you worship. Like all of that comes with the association of another God. Is the way you're worshiping them. And that was the problem that God had with the children of Israel. So look at this Deuteronomy chapter 5.
4, you mean?
What?
You mean 4 or 5?
4. I'm sorry, yeah, 4. Deuteronomy chapter 4 and pick it up at 14. Go ahead, bro.
And the Lord commanded me at that time to teach you statutes and judgments, that you might do them in the land whither you go over to possess it.
So God is giving statutes and judgments, right? Keep reading 15.
Take ye therefore good heed unto yourselves. For you saw no manner of similitude on the day that the Lord spake unto you in Horeb out of the midst of the fire.
So you didn't even see God, right? You saw no similitude. And the reason why God made it so that you wasn't able to see him, because what it say in verse 6?
16.
16, I'm sorry.
Lest you corrupt yourselves and make you a graven image.
You see, that's the issue. Like you're going to see God and you're going to know what? You're now going to make a graven image and you're going to corrupt yourselves, right? And this was the problem. Like we talking about, hey, you shouldn't be calling him God. You should call him by his name. Okay, well, I mean, what's his name? Because he got many names. He has many names, but we looking at right here, the way you're dealing with idolatry or the way you're dealing with worshiping of another God is the way you're worshiping a God, right? So even right here we see is that lest ye corrupt yourselves and make you a graven image and do what else?
The similitude of any figure.
Yep.
The likeness of male or female.
Keep going.
The likeness of any beast that is on the earth. The likeness of any winged fowl that flieth in the air.
Yep.
The likeness of anything that creepeth on the ground.
Yep.
The likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth.
Keep going.
Unless thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven.
And do what?
And when thou seest the sun.
And what else?
And the moon and the stars, even all the host of heaven.
Yep.
Shouldest be driven to worship them.
Hold on. Should it be what?
Shouldest be driven to worship them.
That's the issue. You know what I mean? Because, hey, we talking about now you're worshiping this image. That's what you're doing. You're now driven to worship an image, a bird or any type of foul beast or the sun or the moon. Like you're worshiping it. So he said what? Should it be driven to worship them and do what else?
And serve them.
And do what else?
Which the Lord thy God have divided unto all nations under the whole heaven.
You see that? It says to worship and to serve. Like when we calling on God, like, are we serving him? Because the God of Israel said, thou shalt not kill, steal. Thou shalt not, break my dietary law. You're going to come to church on the 7th day of the week? Go to Psalms real quick. So it's like, we operating within the box of God. We operating within the box of God. So, it's kind of like, even when God returned, everybody going to know what name to call. Because he's going to give a pure language. So when we talking about, the name you calling, like, nah, God is more so set up on this. Look at this Psalms. Where is it at? He say my word above all thy name. You know what is that? I know it's so when we talking about the name, no, you not on.
Talking about 138.
That might be it. Yeah, 138. All right, when we talking about the name, or we talking about God, we just going off of what we can read within the Bible. But after this, we're gonna read a great point that the brother brought out, on what Jesus said. So look at this, Psalms 138. Psalms 130 and read. Go ahead and start at verse 1 for me.
Right. I will praise thee with my whole heart.
You see that? I'm going to praise you with our whole heart. Go ahead.
Before the gods will I sing praise unto thee.
Keep going.
I will worship toward thy holy temple.
Now look at what he's saying, before the gods. He's talking about mankind.
Right.
That's what he's talking about. Right? Like even God is considering you to be a God.
Man.
You know what I mean? So, if we sitting up talking about, should we be calling on God? Like, we just calling on what we can read. And that's really it. So we not really getting into the name because of the fact that, like, look at what the rest of this is saying. Keep reading, bro.
I will worship toward thy holy temple and praise thy name for thy loving kindness and for thy truth.
Go ahead.
For thou hast magnified thy word above all thy name.
You see that? The word is magnified above all thy name. Right? Like, the example that I will make is David, right? David is going to be in the kingdom. But David was calling on the actual name of God. David still got in trouble with God because of the word. The word is what got David in trouble. He was calling on the actual name. I can assure you David was. But you know what got David in trouble? he committed adultery, and he had her husband killed. He went against God's word. So even right here we see is that the word is magnified above all thy name. So it's really more so your behavior lined up with your works. That's really what it's about. We talking about God. Like, no, we're not calling on another God. No, we're not breaking the third commandment. No, that's not what we're doing. Because when you look at those gods, they had a way to be worshiped and a way to be served. And that's why we read that Deuteronomy chapter 4. It was a way that they was to be worshiped and a way that they was to be served. Now let's go over here to Matthew. The brother made a great point, right? He made a great point. Matthew 27. Okay. He made a great point. Right? So Matthew 27, and again, this is why we say it, because of what we can read in the Bible. Matthew 27, and you said pick it up at 45? Okay. Okay, I see where it's at. Yeah, go ahead and start at 45.
Now from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land until the 9th hour.
So we talking about darkness, right? We talking about probably like in the middle of the day. It's straight dark now, right? So it says now the 6th hour there was darkness, because the 6th hour is like the first hour in the day. That's when you see the sun. That's like early in the morning. Incorrect. I'm sorry. That's like noon. Mm-hmm. Like noon, right? Like I was saying, like at noon, it's complete darkness. The first hour is early in the morning, like 6 o'clock. Right. So the 6th hour we talking about like right at noon, but it says darkness over all the land until the 9th hour. Keep reading. The 9th hour we talking about what? 3 o'clock. All right, but keep going though.
Verse 46, and about the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani.
Yep.
That is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?
So Eli, la sabachthani, that means, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? So we just looking at like, what kind of like what we read within the Bible. You know what I mean? Like, when we look at, the third commandment, that's why Israel got kicked out of the land, because they was worshiping and serving other gods. God has gave us rules. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 8 real quick. Deuteronomy 8. God gave us rules on how yes ma'am. Yep. God gave us rules. And the rules is, check this out. Deuteronomy chapter 8, and let's read verse 4. I'm sorry, verse 3.
And he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger and fed thee with manna, which thou knewest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man doth not live by bread only.
So man ain't going to just live by bread only. What else is man going to live by?
But by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Lord doth man live.
You see that? This is how we're to live. We're to live by every word that proceed out of the mouth of God. Right? So God has given us, go over Proverbs chapter 4 real quick. God has given us, rules. God has given us rules on what we're supposed to do in order to serve him. And the rules are Exodus 20, Deuteronomy chapter 5, Leviticus chapter 11, Deuteronomy 16, Leviticus 23, so forth and so forth. But really every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God is how you're going to live. Look at this Proverbs chapter 4. Proverbs chapter 4, and let's read 10. Go ahead and read that, bro.
Hear, O my son,
yep,
and receive my sayings.
You see that? Receive my sayings. Like, this is what we got to be doing. We got to be receiving God's sayings. So look at what he's saying. He's saying, hear, O my son, and receive my sayings. And what else?
And the years of thy life shall be many.
Ooh. So if you're living off of every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God, look at what he's saying. The years of thy life shall be many.
Right.
How is that going to take place? Well, we read it in class today. And one of the locations we read, hey, if you honor your father and your mother, your day is going to be prolonged. You know? And that's a part of you being obedient unto God's commandments. You know what? Let's go over here to Isaiah real quick. Something just came to my mind. We ain't got nothing else on Destiny 592. I'm hoping you're a sister, because I don't want to be saying sis or bruh, you know. So just correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm assuming you're a sister. But go over here to Isaiah. Look at Hezekiah right quick. Look at what Hezekiah did, right? When he asked God to have mercy on him, right? Look at what he said. Isaiah, is it 37? Isaiah 36. But hold on. Not Isaiah 36. That's when Sennacherib was mocking him. Yeah, Isaiah 38. Look at Isaiah 38 real quick. Isaiah 38 and pick it up at verse 1. Go ahead and read that for me, bro.
In those days was Hezekiah sick unto death.
Now Hezekiah is sick unto death. And what Isaiah came to tell him. Go ahead.
And Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos, came unto him and said unto him, Thus saith the Lord, set thy house in order, for thou shalt die and not live.
So he says, set your house in order, you're going to die. Keep reading.
Then Hezekiah turned his face toward the wall and prayed unto the Lord.
Verse 3.
And said, Remember now, O Lord, I beseech thee,
how what?
How I have walked before thee in truth and with a perfect heart.
Go ahead.
And have done that which is good in thy sight.
How is it that he did what was good in his sight? By being obedient to what thus say the Lord. You know, like Hezekiah didn't sit there and say, hey, I didn't call you God, I called you this. Nah, he said, hey, I beseech thee how I walk before thee in truth and with a perfect heart and have done that which is good in thy sight.
Right.
Keep reading, bro.
And Hezekiah wept sore.
Keep going.
Then came the word of the Lord to Isaiah, saying,
Saying what?
Go and say to Hezekiah, Thus saith the Lord, the God of David thy father, I have heard thy prayer, I have seen thy tears. Behold, I will add unto thy days 15 years.
You see that? So the Lord, you know, he said, okay, you a sis. Okay, sis, I got you. I figured you was a sister, but I just, you know, I see Destiny 592. I don't think too many brothers tag themselves as 592. So I meant Destiny. I don't think so, but yes, that's what's up. But yeah, just looking at you know, Hezekiah and you know David and you know Psalms 138 is like the Lord wants you on
hearkening and obedient to that word.
Yeah. Go to Matthew 7 real quick. Matthew chapter 7.
David even said too after that, you know, thy word have I hid in thy heart that I might not sin against thee.
Let's read that. We'll read that. Yeah. Hey, let's go read that now. We can hold this Matthew. Let's go read that now. Because that, like, you know, what's going to teach you that you sinning? The commandments. And when you transgress one of them, you don't broke the law. So, but we finna get this, where you at, Psalms?
Yeah, Psalm 119. It's that 119 there.
Psalms 119 or what?
You can pick it. I'll pick it up at verse 9. You can read into it, because that's important too, right there. That 9.
Okay.
Well, whither shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed thereto according to thy word.
You see what's going to help you cleanse your ways? It's going all the way back to what we read in Psalms 138. Thy word is magnified above thy name. Like, how are you going to be able to cleanse your ways? What it say, bro?
With my whole heart have I sought thee. Oh, let me not wander from thy commandments.
You see that? And you ain't going to wonder. This is how you're going to cleanse your ways. It says, wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his ways? By taking heed thereunto according to thy word. Now he's coming into verse 10 saying, with my whole heart have I sought thee. What else it say, bro?
Oh, let me not wander from thy commandments.
You see that? We can't wander from the commandments, because the commandments is what's going to get us out there without a life jacket. And you know, if you're out in the ocean without a life jacket, you're going to eventually drown. So even, you holding on to the commandments, that's going to continue to teach you how to be obedient unto God. That's going to keep you continually before his eyes. Right? But what else it say, bro?
Verse 11. Thy word have I hid in mine heart.
Look at what he hid in his heart to do what?
That I might not sin against thee.
You see that? This is what's going to teach you. That's why Deuteronomy 8 said what it said. This is how you're going to live, by every word that proceed out of the mouth of God. So now when you got the commandments right here, you know how not to go out of bounds with God. So look at what David said. David said, thy word have I hid in my heart, that I might not sin against thee. You see that? Like, hey, he got the word hid within his heart. Go to Proverbs 7. That was it, right? That was all? Go to Proverbs 7 just to back that point up. Proverbs 7, and let's read one verse there. Verse 1. Proverbs 7. And read that one verse, verse 1. Go ahead, bro.
My son, keep my words and lay up my commandments with thee.
You see that? Lay up my commandments with thee. This is what you're doing, right? When you are worshiping another God in vain, or worshiping of another God, you are doing this. You are not keeping the Lord's words. You're not doing it. You are going against God's word. So it says, my son, keep my words and lay up my commandments with thee. What is saying verse 2?
Keep my commandments and live.
You see that? Keep the commandments and live. Go ahead.
And my law as the apple of thine eye.
See, this is, so Sister Destiny, like, one more point, because I was going to read it. Read that Matthew 7 real quick. Because that was a great point that the brother brought out with David. How David was saying, hey, he kept that word hid in his heart so you don't sin against God. Now look at this Matthew on. Yep. Yep. Look at this look at this 21. Matthew 7 and 21. Go ahead.
Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven.
You see that? So apparently, it's bigger than just you knowing the name. You know what I mean? Because, look, you got some that are going to know the name. And he said they ain't going to enter into the kingdom of heaven. But what?
But he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven.
Go ahead.
Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name?
Yep.
And in thy name have cast out devils.
Yep.
And in thy name done many wonderful works.
You see that? They know the name. They saying the name properly. What he saying, 23?
And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity.
You see that? Because it's his word that's magnified above his name. So a lot of people in the latter days, they're going to be like, Lord, Lord. And this ain't just always being applied to the Sunday church. Nah, this isn't. You got some brews who dealing with the truth, but yet they good at saying the name, but their behavior ain't lining up. So, yes, ma'am. Oh, you no problem for reinforcing the simplicity that's in Christ. You're right. Absolutely. So, any comments? Anybody else wanted to comment to that? Okay. Happy Sabbath. Does Matthew 24:3-14 occur before the abomination of desolation? If so, is it correct to say that the saints will be persecuted before the man of perdition arrives? Okay. Yep. Let's read it. Matthew 24:3-14. Go and pick it up at verse 1, though. We'll just read them. Matthew 24. Blessed Sabbath on Sister Michaela. Go ahead, bro.
And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. Mm-hmm. And Jesus said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down.
Go ahead.
And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world?
Go ahead.
And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you.
So take heed that no man deceive you. Go ahead.
For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many.
Now let's keep in mind is that when Christ, was crucified and died for the sins of the world, that took us all the way into the end. That took us all the way to the end of the world when he was crucified, right? So now when we looking at verse 4, it's saying, take heed that no man deceive you. We know that's going about now. Many have came in the name of the Lord. That's still going about. What is saying verse 6 though?
And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars.
Yep.
See that you be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet.
We're hearing rumors of wars right now. Wars and rumors of wars. What one is going on with Russia and Ukraine. Right? That might be a big spinoff, but at this point right now, it's just a rumor of war. Before that, wars and rumors of war. So, we dealing with these events right now, before our time and even in our time right now currently. What is saying verse 7 though?
For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. Mm-hmm. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places.
So in different places, it's going to be famines, pestilence, and earthquakes. We had a major pestilence a couple of years ago, COVID-19. We had an earthquake, I want to say in Melbourne a couple of months ago, which is not unheard of. That's not heard of. Huh? You said it's not heard of? Not heard of. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you got earthquakes in diverse places. You got different famines, going about right now. But what is saying verse 8?
All these are the beginning of sorrow.
Now just keep in mind, again, when Christ was crucified, that took us into the end, or better yet, into the beginning of sorrows. Mm-hmm. So yes, we are in the beginning of sorrows right now as we speak, right? But keep going. What is saying verse 9?
Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted,
yep,
and shall kill you,
yep,
and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake.
Yep.
And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another.
And yes, this is before the abomination of desolation. Yes, this is going to be going about before the abomination of desolation is set up. It's going to get real ugly, right before he's to be revealed. This is why it's going to be so easy to implement him in this wickedness to the point where people are going to believe on his end.
Okay.
That's why it's going to be so easy, because now, we got this man allowing fire to rain down from heaven.
Right.
He got to be God. This is what people are going to think. So this is why, things are going to be real ugly before he's actually implemented into the world, because he's going to catch people off. Serious, like a thief in the night. He's going to catch a lot of people off. So it says right here, it says, then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you. And ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sakes. What is saying 10, bro?
And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another.
Shall hate one another. Go ahead.
And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many.
Yep.
And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
You see that? The love of many is going to wax cold. That's where we at right now, sis. You know, we right now in this time where it ain't no love out here. Nah, it ain't no love. You know, like you can't, being a woman, you can't even drive by, you know, a homeless person at 12, 1 o'clock at night and be concerned whether you're going to get mugged. You know, you can't even help a homeless person out that time of night because you don't know what is going to transpire. Because ain't no love, better yet, ain't no commandments being kept. So everybody is running wickedly, right? What is saying 13, bro?
But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
Yep.
And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. And then shall the end come.
Then shall the end come. So, you know, 14 is what's going to take us all the way into the end, because now the gospel is going to be preached into all of the world for a witness. So, you know, it's kind of leading up to that point. But to answer your question, you know, before the abomination of desolation is placed in the Holy Land, yeah, you're gonna be delivered up. Go to Daniel chapter 11. You're gonna be delivered up. You know, you gonna be delivered up. You gonna, you know, oh, they over there doing this. Yeah, a lot of it's gonna take place like that. You know, yeah, like the brother said, probably by your own family. Yeah. It's going to very well take place like that, you know, because those are the one that, you know, somewhat know about your whereabouts.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? They know what you got going on because you've been trying to bring the gospel to them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So now they know where your location at, where you going to class at. You know, they know exactly who, you know, is teaching the word, because you probably don't send them videos of this brother teaching the word, or, you know, whatever the case is. So your family is really probably going to be the ones turning you in, you know. But all of this is going to take place before the Great Tribulation, right? So look at Daniel chapter 11. Daniel chapter 11. And let me see if this is what we want. I don't think we want that, because this is the Pope entering the land.
Entering in, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let me see what Daniel 12 say. Daniel 12 says what it says.
I think they're kind of getting into that too.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. If any of y'all brothers can think of something. But just reading what we just read in Matthew 24, you know, it kind of reads like, you know, where it's gonna be tough times before, you know, tribulation. That's kind of like even with when it's time to flee. You know, I think some I hear some use the ideal of how the children of Israel, and of course the children of Israel didn't have a clue that the Lord was going to deliver them, right? But when it's time to flee, like, the Lord ain't going to really intervene on that matter just yet. Nah, like when you read, I want to say Isaiah, where it says, what are these that are fly to my window are like as doves? The ships of Tarshish. Like, that's talking about when the Lord return and gather the children of Israel from the four corners. So when we talking about us running for our lives, like, God ain't going to just interject himself in that like that, because people got to believe and get away from this system. Like, people, like, when it's time to flee, you know, you just bought this 3,000 square foot home. You just got a raise on your job where now you went from, you know, company manager to the CEO, and now you making $150,000 to $250,000 a year. That's gonna be hard for you to pull away from that. So if you see something supernatural take place, then of course you're gonna leave that. Yeah, you going, but you know, when we talking about fleeing before the great tribulation, like, God ain't coming back gathering us. Like, nah, he's not doing that. You fleeing with faith. That's what's happening. You know, so even when you hide, and you know you being delivered, like, nah, all of that is your faith, sis. You know what I mean? So, you know, when you going to be delivered up to be killed, like, yeah, that stuff is going to be intense before the great tribulation jump off. Again, like, you know, it's kind of like cooking a frog slow. That's what it is. Like, hey, it's going to get tense to the point where God got to really be returning. And now, let's go and look at it right quick. Revelations right quick.
Yes.
Revelations on.
Did you see her comment she made?
What'd she say? Wow, okay. I thought we could all escape persecution by fleeing to the wilderness during the great tribulation. Oh, yeah.
Some have to be here. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Exactly. Yep. Everybody ain't gonna escape.
Exactly. Yep.
Good point. And you know why I say everybody ain't gonna escape? Now let's go and read Daniel chapter 11.
Okay.
Now let's read Daniel chapter 11, and we talking about, in Daniel chapter 11, we talking about the great tribulation. So Daniel chapter 11, and let's read 31. Daniel chapter 11, and let's read, go ahead and pick it up at verse 31.
And arms shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that make it desolate.
So, you know, now the daily sacrifice has stopped at what, 1290? Because at 1260, he's going to be placed, and that's going to be 1290. 1290 days is when the abomination, 1290 days is, right, okay, I'm about to confuse myself. 1290 days when the abomination, the desolation, is going to stop the daily sacrifice. 1260 is when the great tribulation is going to jump off. All hell is going to break loose. So right here we see is that he's going to be placed and take away the daily sacrifice, and he's going to be set up now. What is saying verse 32?
And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries.
Yep.
But the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits.
You see that? The people that do know their God. We talking about now the abomination that make it desolate. He's set up now. He's in the land. He's pronouncing himself to be God. Look at what 32 say. It says, but the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits. Meaning they're going to be bold. They're going to be speaking against them. Nah, that ain't God. Don't let that fool you. You know, he working for the devil. But this is all going to be going on during the great tribulation. So people are going to be left back, because what else it say? 33.
And they that understand among the people shall instruct many.
Shall do what?
Shall instruct many.
You got some that are going to be instructing many. They're going to be instructing individuals to either be here or to be there. But you're going to have people left back. Keep reading. What else it say?
Yet they shall fall by the sword.
So some got to fall by the sword. By what else?
And by flame.
Yep.
By captivity.
Yep.
And by spoil many days.
34.
Now when they shall fall, they shall be hoping with a little help.
Yep.
But many shall cleave to them with flattery.
You see that? Many are going to cleave to them with flatteries. But look at what it's saying, 35. 35, 9 and 35. 11 and 35 now.
And some of them of understanding shall fall.
You see that? Some of them of understanding shall fall. Who are the ones with understanding? The saints. So some of them are going to fall to do what?
To try them and to purge and to make them white.
And to make them white. Go ahead.
Even to the time of the end.
Because what?
Because it is yet for a time appointed.
You see that? Hey, some of those of understanding are going to fall to try others. Right? To try them, to purge and to make them white. You see that? So you got some, they're going to get caught up. They're going to have understanding. You might be with a brother or sister that might get beheaded right there in front of you and going to try you to see if you still want to serve this God. You need to go ahead and be like Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. King, you might as well not even bring that to us. Just throw us in the fiery furnace. That's how your mindset need to be. But yes, it's going to be individuals left back in the Great Tribulation. Because again, even the ones that are left back in the Great Tribulation, I see it in some instance for a faith builder. Some's faith may not be to the level, and some feel like they could fake it till they make it. Yeah. 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 Yeah, but keep going though. What is saying 36?
And the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god.
Above every god. Go ahead.
And shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods.
Yep.
And shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished.
Go ahead.
For that is determined shall be done.
Keep going.
Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any God. For he shall magnify himself above all.
You see that? So yeah, Sister Michaela, everybody ain't gonna make it out of here. It'd be good, it'd be nice if that could be the case, but everybody ain't gonna make it out. Some gotta stay back. So that's why, I just say, if it be your will, Lord. But I ain't so amped to putting on running shoes, cause I might be putting on running shoes to run around here during the Great Tribulation. Who knows? But it's not. Yeah. It's somewhere else. What's up, bro? Everyone in the chat and those watching. Peace, Drew. Okay, it's somewhere else where it says, I can't even phrase it right. But anybody got comments to that? Hey, hold on. Let me get you a mic. It's another mic in there. Yeah, if you want to, yeah.
I just said that I feel like I'm gonna be too old, but if I have to do it, then I'm gonna stand in the gap and teach the people that are left behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to, yeah.
Okay, yeah, you sound good.
Yeah, but that's that. Please explain Isaiah chapter 3. And I can't see the rest of that because I got a heart in front of the rest of it.
Chapter 3 and 4.
Okay. Isaiah chapter 3 and 4 or Isaiah 3 and verse 4? Andrea, Israel, can you please clarify that just a little bit? Isaiah chapter 3. Ho. All right, let's just read chapter 3 and chapter 4. Okay, I appreciate it. Okay. All right. Go ahead. I don't think I let's go ahead. Yeah, I don't think I read through this just yet.
Okay. All right. Verse 1, Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 1. For behold, the Lord of hosts, doeth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and the staff, the whole stay of bread and the whole stay of water, the mighty man and the man of war, the judge and the prophet and the prudent and the ancient, the captain of 50, and the honorable man, and the counselor, and the cunning artificer, and the eloquent orator. And I will give children to be their princes, and babes shall rule over them. And the people shall be oppressed, everyone by another, and everyone by his neighbor. The child shall behave himself proudly against the ancient, and the base against the honorable. When a man shall take hold of his brother of the house of his father, saying, Thou hast clothed him, be thou our ruler, and let this ruin be under thy hand. In that day shall he swear, saying, I will not be an healer, for in my house is neither bread nor clothing. Make me not a ruler of the people. For Jerusalem is ruined, and Judah is fallen, because their tongue and their doings are against the Lord, to provoke the eyes of his glory.
So we looking at, Israel still up to their old tactics. All right, so we see Jerusalem is ruined. Judah is fallen. So I'm trying to get a time frame on this, but keep going though. What is it saying, verse 9? I'm sorry, finish up 8.
For Jerusalem is ruined, and Judah is fallen, because their tongue and their doings are against the Lord, to provoke the eyes of his glory.
Go ahead.
The show of their countenance doth witness against them, and they declare their sin as Sodom. They hide it not. Woe unto their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves.
Keep going.
Say ye to the righteous, that it shall be well with him, for they shall eat the fruit of their doings. Woe unto the wicked, it shall be ill with him, for the reward of his hands shall be given him. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths. The Lord standeth up to plead, and standeth to judge the people.
Go ahead.
The Lord will enter into judgment with the ancients of his people, and the princes thereof. For ye have eaten up the vineyard, the spoil of the poor is in your houses. What mean ye that ye beat my people to pieces, and grind the faces of the poor, saith the Lord God of hosts? Moreover, the Lord saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet.
So it's like, we making reference to how Israel be acting. Look at what he said. He talking about the daughters, though. He talking about the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks and wanting eyes, walking and mincing. What is saying 17 though?
Therefore the Lord will smite with the scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion.
So he gonna bring them low. He gonna smite them. Look at what he said though.
And the Lord would.
The Lord said he gonna smite with the scab of the crown of the head, like some hair gonna fall out. But in other words, we just looking at how the Lord, gonna humble these sisters.
You gotta humble them for chapter 4 when we read it. You gotta be humble in order for them to take hold of chapter 4.
Yeah, but go ahead. What is saying 18?
And the Lord would discover their secret parts. Verse 18.
In
that day the Lord would take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet, and their cauls and their round tires like the moon.
Go ahead.
The chains and the bracelets and the mufflers, the bonnets and the ornaments of the legs, and the headbands and the tablets and the earrings, the rings and nose jewels.
They draped out, but keep going though.
The changeable suits of apparel and the mantles and the wimples and the crisping pins. The glasses and the fine linen and the hoods and the veils.
Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there shall be stink. And instead
they're gonna be funky. But in other words, the Lord is just bringing them all the way down to ground zero. That's what he's doing right here, But this is talking about, at the coming of the Lord. This is talking about what he's going to do at his coming, if I'm not mistaken. But we see is that, God is bringing the daughters of Zion all the way down to ground zero. He stripped them of everything. Look at what it says. It says, in that day, the Lord would take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet, and their cauls and their round tires like the moon, the chains and the bracelets and the mufflers and the bonnets and the ornaments and the legs and the headbands and the tablets and the earrings. Like the Lord is stripping all of that down, right? But what is saying verse? Where you at?
24.
Go ahead and read that.
And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there shall be stink.
So instead of sweet smell, it's going to be stink. Go ahead.
And instead of a girdle, a rent.
Yep.
And instead of a well-set hair, baldness. And instead of a stomacher, a girdling of sackcloth. And burning instead of beauty.
So burning instead of beauty. No more beauty. You're gonna have a bad smell, and you're gonna be a sight for sore eyes. But what is saying 25 now?
Thy men shall fall by the sword.
Now the Lord is still, the Lord knocking off these men as well. So the men are going to fall by the sword. Go ahead.
And thy mighty in the war.
Go ahead.
And her gates shall lament and mourn. And she being desolate shall sit upon the ground.
So she going to, they're going to be mourning at the gate because you're going to have a lot of men falling by the sword of the Lord. A lot of men falling. Now go into chapter 4. Go ahead.
And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying,
Go ahead.
We will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel.
Yeah.
Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach.
So, we gonna have, women being humble to the point now where they're gonna be 7 women are gonna take hold of one man. You got to be stripped down, or you got to be brought to, ground zero in order to receive something like this. Because women right now, they're not going to accept this. This is a conversation that go about within Israel right now, the conversation with multiple wives. And women do not want to hear that conversation. They don't want to hear that talk. So just imagine if they ain't trying to hear that now, what the Lord is going to do to them in order for them to receive this. He got to bring them all the way down to the point now where they're going to take hold of one man. Because, man is going to be on the verge of extinction at this point. Like God is doing some killing. Like he's swinging his battle axe and he's doing a lot of killing. So now, the women are to the point now where, we'll eat our bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. And some sisters, they read this. I had a sister read this to me. She'd be like, see, all she wanted was all she wanted was to be called by his name. That was it. It wasn't nothing else involved. I'm like, huh? I'm like, where you read that at? Like, I can't get all of that out of that verse. All I know is they have now taken hold of this one man. That's what has occurred. But what is saying verse 2 though, bro?
In that day shall the branch of the Lord be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped of Israel.
You see that? Those that are escaped. Escape what? The sword of the Lord. Keep reading though.
And it shall come to pass that he that is left in Zion and he that remaineth in Jerusalem shall be called holy, even every one that is written among the living in Jerusalem.
Keep going.
When the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion.
So now the Lord is going, you know, he coming back to purge. That's what he's doing. And at this point, by him purging, at the same time, he cleaning up the nation. He cleaning them up. So it says when the Lord, it says, and it shall come to pass that he that remain left in Zion and he that remain in Jerusalem shall be called holy. What is saying verse 4?
When the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning.
By the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning. We talking about the Lord whooping them down. You know, because when you go back up in what, chapter 3, chapter 3 and verse, where is it at? Well, I could be wrong on that, so I ain't gonna try to speak on that spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning. But go ahead into verse 5.
And the Lord will create upon every dwelling place of Mount Zion, and upon her assemblies a cloud and smoke by day, and the shining of a flaming fire by night. For upon all the glory shall be a defense.
You see that? Upon all the glory shall be a defense. Go ahead.
And there shall be a tabernacle for a shadow in the daytime from the heat, and for a place of refuge, and for a covert from storm and from rain.
So, you know, we just looking at we're just looking at chapter 3 and 4 is, you know, the Lord is returning, and, you know, he's doing a lot of killing when he returned, to the point now where, you know, he's even humbling this woman to the point where she's willing, not just one woman, but several women are willing to take hold of one man. So it's like, you know, God had to humble them to get them to that point. But I mean, that's kind of all I see on that. Anybody else got a comment? Yeah. Right.
Our sisters are going to have to be humbled in order to accept sharing their husband, whether it's 3, 4. And I'm not a proponent of multiple wives because of that. Having multiple women and some of them stink, like, and bald, it ain't going to look good.
It's gonna be bad.
You know, you think about it, like, you want multiple, you know, you argue about we can have multiple wives, just wait your turn. You'll get it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just wait your turn.
Hey, look at something else real quick. Hold on for a second. Ken, you got something you want to add to that, or you good?
I'm good.
All right. And sis, I'm going to definitely get a little more. I'm going to reach out just to, you know, get a little more, it might be a little more in depth of what's going on as well. Go to Isaiah 13 right quick. It might be a little more in depth on what's going on. But I definitely get a little more, ask you know, some of my elders or some of my teachers, you know, is there's more on top of Isaiah 3 and 4, and add it to you next Sabbath, Lord willing. But look at this Isaiah 13. Isaiah 13 and pick it up at verse 9. Go ahead.
Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate.
Yep.
And he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it.
He's going to destroy the sinners thereof out of the land. Go ahead.
For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine.
Go ahead.
And I will punish the world for their evil.
You see that? The Lord is going to punish the world for their evil. Go ahead.
And the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible.
You see that? So he's going to lay low the haughtiness, the high-minded. Right? He's going to lay them low. What is saying 12?
I will make a man more precious than fine gold.
You see that? So man is going to, they're going to be like a precious piece of gold because they're going to be so rare. Right? Because God is going to be killing so many of them. And this is why in Isaiah chapter 4, you're going to have 7 women that's going to take hold of this one man because man is going to be like it says. What? It says, and I will make man more precious than fine gold. Go ahead.
Even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir.
You see that? That's how rare man is going to be. They're going to be on the verge of extinction. So, when you look at, Isaiah chapter 3, you look at how, the Lord started off with how Jerusalem is in disarray because, Judah, they still out of hand. But the Lord is returning. And at his return, hey, he gonna do something to the daughters of Zion. He gonna humble them and bring them all the way low to the point now he even gonna knock off some of the brothers in Isaiah chapter 4. Now the women are going to be willing to take their bread, their garments, and take the name of that man. Right? 7 of them are going to do this. But now, over here in Isaiah 13, we talking about the Lord killing man to the point where he's going to be so precious, it's going to be what? Then the golden wedge of Ophir. Right? So just looking at that, that's kind of what I get out of that. But like I said, I'm gonna definitely reach out, sis, just to make sure I'm on the right path with that. So I know time to get ready because it's coming. Yeah. What up, Brother Drew? All right, it says, as you read in Daniel, yes, ma'am. It says, as you read in Daniel chapter 11, 33 through 35, will some people be left behind because they chose not to flee, or God did not allow them to go? Okay, that's a good point. I mean, that's a good question. Now that she brought that back up, it's a you don't know where it's at, where it says tribulation. Let me see if I can put this in this Bible search.
What it say?
It say I can't even.
Is it in Revelation?
Might be.
When it says some of you, I don't think that's what you're looking for.
These are they which came out of great tribulation. That's 7. It's like he gone. Tribulation, persecution, arise. I mean, to answer your question is, I mean, God left them behind. Like they didn't make it out. You know, you got some that didn't make it out, and then you got some that just didn't leave.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I can't. It's like say something.
You're gonna have
like,
to have faith to get up and leave, like you were saying earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people ain't gonna have it. Some people don't even know what's going on. First of all, so they ain't gonna flee because they don't have any idea of when to flee. And the fact that you're gonna get up and leave all your stuff and leave your bank account and your food and your refrigerator and your car in the driveway, it's too much for people. That's too much. It sounds cultish. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, a lot of people ain't gonna move.
Right. That's right. Like the brother was just saying. It's all about it's gonna be based upon your faith, you know. But you know, in your question, as you read Daniel 11:33-35, will some people be left behind?
He talks about people making their garments white, coming out of tribulation. You know what I'm saying?
Even that's letting you know that even baptism, even they gonna be baptized in the great tribulation. So it's like you gonna almost be on Front Street. Seriously. It's like you gonna be out there. It's like you gonna be so close to being caught until you gonna really be crying to the Lord. Right. You know, we gotta meet at this checkpoint, you know, but it's like when you look at this ultimately, sis, look at the Revelation 7. When you look at this, right, it's like God getting you to really believe on him. You know what I mean? Because ain't no man gonna be able to deliver you out of this. No man. Right? So, you know, even during the great tribulation, when you running for your life, yeah, like God interjecting, you know what I mean? But he ain't interjecting to the point where, you know, what he's gonna do on tabernacles, how he's gonna come back and gather the children of Israel. Nah, he gonna allow some things to take place, like he gonna allow the two witnesses. The two witnesses are gonna be there standing on your behalf, but at the same time, you gonna really be believing in God to the point where he is gonna deliver you. That's where you're gonna be at if you're in the great tribulation. Like your faith is really going to be tried. So did this happen? Because it could be a little bit of both. It could be a little bit of both. It could be a little bit of, hey, you know, you decided not to leave and you didn't believe, or the Lord left you back.
Yeah.